Hey, thank you so much for joining us for Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson. I am music producer Achickwitbeatz.
And this is entrepreneur of many means, Breezy Gipson.
And we're delighted that you're with us. We got a great show lined up for you as always with tons of music industry news. And, we got some tips for you coming up since we're right here on the cusp of the new year. And do you want to share a little bit about what we've got coming up in store for them?
Well, hey, man, every day there's a different page that's turning, and the page that's turning right now has to do with Omicron and how it's affecting the music industry.
Yes. So, make sure you stick around. So, tons of goodness for you that we hope will set you off right for 2022. And let's just go ahead and get into it. What do you say?
Hey, man, let's roll, let's rock, let's roll, whatever. Push the button, let's start.
All right, let's go. All right, and we are back. It is that time, as promised. We're going to talk a little bit about, what's going on with the new variant. We learned back in 2020 that, it's something that definitely needs to be navigated around. So, we're going to talk about that because it's looking like, we might have a similar year coming up. And, being prepared for it is pretty much, it's so important in order to keep the music flowing, keep it going, and all that good stuff. So, yeah, let's go ahead and dive into it, Breezy.
Might as well, like that old soap opera that used to be on As the World Turns. Now it's As the Page Turns. Yep.
Yeah, that was my show, by the way. But yeah.
All right, okay. Hey, I can dig that. I can dig that too. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, as we were saying, it's something that's that we have to navigate around. So, yeah, why don't you share a little bit about your thoughts about that and some of the things that artists can do to be able to remain creative?
Well, number one, with the advent of COVID-19, actually some other things that were happening before COVID-19, but then COVID-19 just brought the hammer out and started hammering nails into it. A lot of music equipment companies have been seeing some uptick in sales because artists everywhere, not just in your neighborhood, but all around the globe, they've begun purchasing equipment so that they can set up their own home studios. Okay. There's been a little bit of fear for people to just get out and go in there into the recording studios themselves. And because you never know what's going on in the recording studio. I just heard a radio broadcast last night where the host was talking about, they had a guest host in there, and he was talking about how filthy the microphone was that he was speaking. Sure did. I'm driving down the street when I heard it, I'm like, yep, I know exactly what he was talking about. And so, that's just a small snippet right there of what's going on with germs and how they're transported.
Yeah. And
so go ahead.
Oh yeah, because it's one of the main things which I personally haven't been hearing a lot about recently. But when they were starting to learn a little bit more about COVID, they were talking about how long the germs can stay in the air. So people cough, sneeze, or speaking loudly, which, let's be honest, we know most of the time in the studio, all that stuff is happening. So with that stuff being able to stay in the air for extended periods of time, that is something to keep in mind.
Well, I don't want to turn this into a sales pitch, but there's types of equipment that I've been providing for quite a while that actually eliminates that. So, we'll talk about that at another time when the time is right.
Yeah. So, okay. So we've already kind of covered now some of the things that artists can try to do to protect themselves. Also, just for the record, if you're an artist out there and you're like, but I don't know anything about engineering, I don't know any of this stuff, so how's this going to work for me? Still using that equipment and, making sure that you're in a quiet space, close enough to your mic and all that good stuff, you can still work with many recording studios have engineers that can also engineer your music remotely. I've been able to work with artists in the UK to engineer the stuff that they recorded, so that way they can have it where it's actually available to be on the platforms and sounding good, crisp and clear without them having even recorded it in a professional studio. Also, with that being said, for studio owners, not trying to take any business away from you or whatever, but just kind of keep that stuff in mind. So that way, if you have some of this equipment that Breezy had just mentioned, you can still let your clients know that you can actually provide a safe space if you're cleaning things normally, as well as best as you can during all this. So, very, very good information to make sure that you apply one way or other, no matter where you're at. As a creative, there's ways to kind of work around what we already know so far. So, even if this upcoming year does resemble 2020 in a certain way, at least, this time we have a little more information to be better prepared, better armed, and making sure that we can still crank out hits.
That's right. And so I'm going to be very, very specific of the incident, the example that I spoke of. This was 7 p.m., 8 p.m. last night, and the the on-air personalities were speaking in terms of, they said, well, the comment was made that I don't know what the earlier guys were doing in here today, because when I look at this microphone that I'm speaking through, it looks scary bad. Okay. And that went out. That was broadcast. Okay. So he continued to go on and to make a couple more statements. And I'm like, I know exactly what he's talking about. Okay. And a microphone that's shared, and whether it be in an auditorium, whether it be in a meeting room, whether it be, I can list out all kinds of places where there are microphones. And a lot of times the people who are using those microphones, they really aren't aware of this particular factor that we're speaking of right now. Okay. And so then that actually transcends into drumsticks. It transcends into the pads on the drum machines that are used. It just transcends all up through everywhere. Okay, the knobs or the buttons that are used on the big, recording the track machines and so on and so forth. So there's a lot going on with that, and so we're here to give you some tips to be aware. Just be aware.
Yes. And so okay, we got the physical side of recording, and some things that you can do to be able to crank out stuff. Another thing, an aspect that speaking with a lot of artists, it was kind of challenging for people to be creative. I mean, some people just kind of thrived, almost like they needed that quarantine, that time away, to be able to be creative. But yeah, I've had the opportunity, pleasure of speaking with artists that have shared that, while they were concerned about all the different things going on, they were finding it hard to just create. So I had actually pulled together some tips, and hopefully you find these helpful as well. But yeah, if you're having trouble, even thinking about trying to create during another quarantine, here's some things that you can try, and should kind of get the ball rolling for you again, if you will. So first up is to acknowledge how you're feeling. So people process things differently. Like I said, some people were fine. They were able to just kind of, keep rolling with it. And others kind of needed to take a step back. And that's perfectly fine. So, recognizing your emotions can actually be the first step in trying to get to a better mindset to be able to help you create.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The frame of mind carries you a long, long way. So, that mental preparedness, I could go ahead and say mental toughness in every arena, every element of life and of business. Don't just wake up and go right in there.
Right.
2-3 days ahead of time with your thoughts, with your action process, and all kinds of things, the steps that you're going to take, and and your crew that is with you, and so on and so forth. So, your supporting cast is very important with that, wouldn't you say?
Very, very. That's the best way it could possibly be put. Yeah, your supporting cast. So, yeah, that's definitely something serious that you need to kind of consider and keep in mind. Another tip is unplug from negativity. So the constant flow of updates, negative opinions, memes, news, all that stuff in your social feeds and alerts, like that can weigh on you after a while. So unplugging for a bit can give you some time to kind of collect your thoughts and, try not to be consumed by everything that's going on, but just, to be aware and take it in, but, kind of knowing that you'll be okay. So yeah, it's okay to unplug from the negativity a little bit if you need to.
Right. Consider sports, for example. That baseball pitcher that's out there, or the outfielder, or whatever, or whether it be soccer that you're into, or football, or just business period. When those guys are out there doing their job, when they're working, when they're providing that game atmosphere, they're not checking their phones. It ain't that important, man. It ain't,
Mhm.
whoever is trying to connect with them, they just gotta put them on pause until
Yeah.
to allow them to just be even more creative. So when you interrupt your own self to go, every time you hear a beep or every time you hear a buzz, you gotta drop everything to just go run to your phone to just check. No, 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 no. Okay, just like she said, unplug it, and do your work first, and then worry about messages afterwards.
Yeah, that was an excellent comparison too. I never really thought about that, but you're right. They're not dropping it, running back like, oh, okay, let's see what's going on. Yeah, they're focused on the game, which is definitely something that us as creatives need to be doing. All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Another tip, connect with like minds. So yeah, just as Breezy had mentioned, you're supporting cast. That's still important. So even if we do end up in another quarantine or whatever, there's ways to still be able to do that. You can text, DM, call, video chat, or whatever you need to do to be able to connect with creative friends. So communicating with other artists can kind of let you regroup and provide a source of inspiration. So there's another tip.
Yeah, and let me be very, very specific. When I mentioned the phrase supporting cast, now that I'm not talking about your homies. I'm not talking about your road dogs. Okay, I'm talking about people who can bring something to the table for you that can help you improve your process to turn out a better product. That's the supporting cast that I'm talking about. People who have a bit of knowledge here and there, or even more specifically, heavy knowledge. Okay, and don't just run and try to grab somebody to do that. That's a gradual process. Okay, some artists out there, hey, it's only them. It's like me, myself, and I. They're by themselves. Okay, they're doing everything they can to exist and put out a product by themselves. Okay, and I understand that happens a lot. Okay, but still, if you have a supporting cast consisting of someone who's got your back, someone who is knowledgeable in various areas, someone who's got a proven track record that they can give you information and give you support in meaningful ways, that's the kind of supporting cast I'm talking about. Okay, and now we're not talking about just grab your homies and bring them up in.
Yeah. All right, another tip, practice self-care. So, it's self-care is vital to the creative process. I don't care how you try to work around it. I know I've tried before, but you have to do it. You got to be in the right headspace in order to be able to create. So taking time to do things that'll preserve your mental well-being and just kind of allow your mind to play and develop some ideas. So, self-care, definitely something you want to do if you're struggling with creativity during this time.
Self-care, wow. That's deep. That's deep.
Helping other artists. So, sharing their work or encouraging words, any of that can give them a boost of motivation. So inspiring others, oddly enough, it can be a way to kind of rejuvenating and inspiring you as you're trying to provide some help, some assistance to someone else. So yeah, helping other artists, you'll be surprised how that makes you feel, because there's so many things out there just kind of grabbing for people's attention. And so anytime you can help another artist kind of rise above the noise, or to let them know that you appreciate what they're doing, by the time that they hear that, then they're happy. It's crazy how it works, but I challenge you, just go ahead and try it.
Well, now for you to run off into a corner and slam the door behind yourself and isolate yourself, thinking that, you're king of the hill, you don't want to participate in the community thing, that might be the wrong idea. That might be the wrong attitude. Okay, because eventually something's going to pop up where you may and probably will need somebody else's help. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so by running off and slamming the door behind you in the corner somewhere, thinking that you don't need anybody's help, wrong.
True story. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. So just take it easy breezy, and just identify, realize that, hey, sooner or later on this trip, on this road, you're gonna have to reach out, and so keep yourself in an agreeable frame of mind, not a rejectable frame of mind. Makes a difference.
Yes, indeed. All right, another tip: consume positivity. So, just take in all the goodness you possibly can. So it doesn't matter if it's, happy songs, funny sitcoms, weird quizzes that are available online, or, even just, positive blog posts. Anything positive that you can just kind of absorb and brighten your mood, take it in. So, it's kind of crazy how this stuff is connected. But yeah, when you're in a good mood, sometimes you can get ideas from the strangest places. So, anything positive you can do to kind of help keep your focus on the good things out there is definitely recommended to kind of keep you in that creative headspace.
Yeah, here's an example. You know how we all went through the phase about 2, 3, 4 years ago where there used to always be social media snippets of groups fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, bringing negativity, this, that. Oh, here's the word: the ratchetness. Okay, and see, so there are a lot of people that got caught up in that, and that ratchetness was still in their creativity.
Yes,
and there have been a lot of people who have admitted that they lost some of their creativity getting caught up with what somebody else was doing with the ratchetness and so forth. And if you intend to be successful, if you intend to turn what you're doing into some income, profit, so on and so forth, you gotta stay away. You gotta stay away from that kind of stuff and keep a clear mind, just like Achickwitbeatz is saying.
Yes. All right. Here's another big one: press pause when needed. So it's okay to take a break and regain your bearings. Just pausing to assess where you're at, and to be able to strategize your next steps can kind of prevent burnout, which is something that's so easy to come upon, depending on what you've got going. And we had a guest a while back, the Professor DJ. Yeah, so she had mentioned that while we are going through this, we still don't technically know the full impact that it's had, on our minds. This is still somewhat a new experience. So she was mentioning that, this will probably be something that we look back on and realize how it affected us. So yeah, it's perfectly fine to, just kind of pause. If you need to hit that button to just kind of regroup, take a minute in, deal with all of the different things you may have going on. It can help keep you from getting burnt out. And then, that's when the creative ideas can flow freely, once you have time to relax.
Yeah. And, and sometimes taking a quick trip somewhere helps, but then that can't always be done. Okay. So, you got that mind power, the power of relaxation. It can help. It can make a big difference. There are various tools out there or recordings out there that are specifically designed to help you relax.
Yes.
Okay. So, it might sound crazy, but on the other hand, if that can help you relax, there are famous athletes using relaxation music. Okay. And, that grind out there is a really hard grind, but they can put themselves on a sofa or wherever, and they use that relaxation music, and it puts them in a calmer state of being. And next thing you know, they find themselves being more productive.
Yeah, some good tips there. Yeah, great advice. All right, another one: do something you've put off. So sometimes checking off, items that you have on your to-do list can kind of give you a strong sense of accomplishment. So, attaining a goal can kind of help create a snowball effect. So it's like once you knock that out the way, then all of a sudden it motivates you to keep the ball rolling. So yeah, definitely another tip to try out, recommendation to help keep you creative right now.
Yeah, because there's one word that's a strong killer, and that's the word procrastination. So don't put it off until tomorrow, which you can do today.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't put it off until next week, next month, which you can accomplish this week. Okay. And so, that keeps your momentum flowing. It keeps your movement going forward. There's a lot, but hey, procrastination kills. And also, when you have an assignment or something that you need to get done and you let it go unnoticed, uncompleted, that thing can fester, gather, dirt gather, dust gather, and the next thing you know, it can become a major problem for you. Okay, so knock it out while it's tiny. Instead of putting it down, and you got to, rather than come against a huge adversary down the road, knock it out while it's tiny, and you can, check it off and move on. Right.
While it's manageable. Yeah. But I'm gonna have a transparent moment here. Like that's one of my biggest struggles. So I've been a procrastinator all my life, but anytime I do actually get something done ahead of time without waiting till the last minute, it feels so good. You would think that I'd remember that every single time and not have to have coffee and a whole bunch of motivation. But but yeah, as someone who is gifted in procrastination, everything you said was 100% on point. So
there's a book. There's a phrase and a book called "As a Man Thinketh." As a man thinketh. Now that refers to both women and men.
Right.
Okay, and so also, you're looking at when different thoughts come to you in your daily flow. Okay, it's nothing to just take a pen and pad out and write that thought down, or if you don't want to go that way, put it in your phone or put it somewhere where you can have that and keep it to the forefront, because in attaining momentum, successful momentum, you actually need a list. You need to have a list of that you come up with yourself of 4 or 5 things topics that are requiring priority. So when you get up in the morning, you address those 4 or 5 things and knock them out. And then that's going to make your whole flow go even more fruitful, because you're knocking these objectives out on a continuous basis, rather than hit one on Monday and then next thing you know, you hit another one on Thursday. And next thing you're waiting till Sunday to get another one. Okay, and see, or next week to do it. And see, so knock them out the box.
Yeah.
Keep yourself organized and acquire success by knocking these things out and moving forward, growing. Okay, because procrastination kills.
Right, and this the final tip for keeping creativity flowing during quarantine: create just for fun. So make something just for you. You don't have to worry about who's going to hear it or who's going to enjoy it, because you're the intended audience. So that can free up so much creativity. You can just let your freak flag fly, and just let it go. So art can be therapeutic in itself, and the freedom from scrutiny can allow you to just kind of ease back into the habit of creating. So yeah, that's the big one right there. So just make sure that you're creating for you, and then if you decide to release it later, then cool. But yeah, if you're not worried about, how are people going to receive this? How does this sound when I say this? Or, how does this note here kind of sound to people? What are they going to, when you can get rid of all that stuff, you can just let it go. So yeah, create just for fun.
Yes. And review your creativity. Because how many on this broadcast we've had 1 after 2 after 5 after 8 after 10 after 20 guests that say they recorded something and they shoved it to the side and they said, oh, well, that's not ready, that's not right, that's not completed, that's what, okay, and then 2 years goes by and they rediscover something that they recorded, a long time ago, and say, wow, well, that's actually kind of strong. But see, so review your work, and because that mega hit could be right up in there that you've recorded and forgotten about.
Right, it's been chilling on the hard drives, and it's just waiting on you to recognize how good it is, so you can share it with the world.
Yes.
Yeah. So right.
Share it with us because we want to know.
Right. Yeah. Hit us up. Let us know. So all right. As we kind of wind this down, before we head into music industry news, we just want to make sure that we got tips and stuff, everything that you need to kind of help you do the best that you can for 2022 and help you reach your goals. So, that's been our focus this whole entire month on Music Marvels, just providing tips to make sure that you're ready and not just kind of feeling like you're thrown into the new year without any, tools to help you. So we're doing the best we can to make sure that you have that information. And also, if there's something that you'd like for us to cover, if maybe you know a little bit about it and want to know some more, hit us up. Let us know that too. Maybe we can cover it in a future episode.
Listen, man, let's make this plain. Okay. Now, you heard Achickwitbeatz say that she personally has helped some rollers and rockers way across around the world with setting their levels on the equipment that they're working with. Okay. So now that should have been a revelation for you. Okay. So now, if you don't partake of this website, Achickwitbeatz.com, you're losing out. If you don't actually thumb through Achickwitbeatz.com and see just what's there to offer, you're missing out again. Okay, if you don't thumb through Achickwitbeatz.com and recognize the professionalism, the capability, you're missing it. Okay. So I'm here to say she ain't no joke. Okay.
Thank you.
So reach out, use that website, reach out or send a DM to her Instagram or whatever, Facebook, whatever, platform you're on, and or through her website, Achickwitbeatz.com, because she could be the missing link to your bust out. She could be the missing link to your prosperity. I'm digging for words, and I got to dig for words because she can be the missing link to what you're trying to do. So, again, Achickwitbeatz.com. Okay. Now, I mentioned earlier about various types of things going on inside recording studios and so on and so forth with cleaning the air, sanitizing the air, disinfecting the air on an ongoing hit me at Breeze Benefits, Breeze, BREEZE, breezebenefits.now.site, breezebenefits.now.site, and just reach out because I can give you some tips and I can get you some help, because this thing going around in the air and on surfaces, it ain't no joke. Somebody's touched something foul. Next thing you know, they come around the corner. You shake hands with them. Hey, man, how you doing? It's on your hand. And then next thing you know, you scratch your eye or rub your face. It's on you, and we don't want that. Okay, so Achickwitbeatz.com as well as breezebenefits.now.site. There you go.
Yes, make sure that you tap into that. And thank you so much for mentioning that. We get so caught up in trying to share information that we forget to let you know that, the help actually goes on beyond the show. So,
That's right.
definitely make
And,
sure.
and both of these are global. This ain't just around the hood. This is global. So if you're in Australia, if you're in Brazil, if you're in Ghana, if you're right around the corner, no matter where, this is global stuff.
Right.
Where these are global centers where you, the artist, the producer, can get some of the help that you need that can take you to the top.
Yes. So wherever you are in the world, make sure that you check those out and stick around, sit tight in your seat. We'll be right back with music industry news after this pause for the cause.
Okay.
I'd like to begin with a fact. Whether in a small town like McAllen in the Rio Grande, or in Chicago, New York, or Los Angeles, it is business. Big business. Big business. I'd like to begin with a fact. Whether in a small town like McAllen in the Rio Grande, or in Chicago, New York, or Los Angeles, it is business. Big business.
Okay, and we're back with music industry news. First up, this is pretty cool, especially for our environmentally conscious listeners out there. Major labels have decided to make a pact to become carbon neutral by 2050. So the three major labels, just in case you're not aware, Universal, Warner, and Sony, they joined some of the leading indie labels in pledging to make sure that they have emissions by 2030 before officially attaining neutrality in 2050. So, it's cool to see companies trying to be more responsible, especially music companies as well. We've heard a lot about NFTs, and then, as this was starting to be more mentioned in the mainstream, people started drawing attention to the fact that NFTs use a lot of energy, so they're not necessarily great for the environment. But even some of these platforms decided to work together to try to find green ways to be able to do that. I know Tezos is one of them. So it's really great to see the music industry kind of considering the health of the earth in the future. So good news there.
Hey man, and the beat keeps rolling.
Yeah. All right, and RX France has axed the infamous annual Music Industry Expo MIDM, but right now it's in talks with the city to potentially take over the MIDM brand. So, even though as of right now it's kind of officially axed, there's a chance that it may be able to live on. I've never actually had the opportunity to attend, but I know, every time around that time of year, all the sites and social medias, like everything is just kind of buzzing about it. So, a lot of people are kind of bummed to hear about that. I know that there's a petition going around now. So if you're in the area and want to sign that to make sure that it can continue, make sure you check out my timeline on Twitter. The link for the actual petition is there if that's something you want to sign.
Hey, that's one of the things I love about this show, because there are topics and opportunities for growth or for helping in many, many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And so, you can say, Achickwitbeatz and I, we're two of the good ones, because not only with the professionalism and experience on the outside, but on the inside, it still boils down to helping your fellow man, helping your fellow company. And so, hey, And as I always say, you got to have your pen and pad and write this stuff down or record it in your own way so you can revisit these topics and because it might make your day in one way or the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Sony Music Middle East and Gami, which is kind of like a Spotify rival, have launched a joint venture record label called Vibe Music Arabia. So, and shout out to them, by the way. When I shared the story when it broke on Twitter, they were the first right there to kind of retweet it. So, yeah, wishing them much success. But according to Sony Music Entertainment Middle East, Vibe Music Arabia is going to support the independent Arabic artist community in Saudi Arabia with, the wider regions of GCC and Levant. So wishing them much success. It's always cool to hear about some of these major labels when they hit these specific markets. You can tell that means that there's some booming that's been going on there. So now for them to launch that to highlight Arabic artists, I think is a beautiful thing. And I'm excited to see what comes forth from that.
Right. Because, you can, if you dial it up in the past, there have been some restrictions to a certain extents and so forth, and so it's almost like, the butterfly is being, is coming into existence. Okay. And we're talking about some calm, some greatness and hey, being in that cocoon, coming out fresh, being able to fly. Some good things are happening there over there.
Yeah. All right, and speaking of new labels, Warner Music launched Atlantic Records Germany. So now Atlantic Records Germany's primary focus will be on discovering and promoting German hip-hop, specifically underground rap, which has been resonating with fans in the area in recent years. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what comes forth from this. As we've talked about many times, is how universal hip hop is. So yeah, to see them focusing a sub label that's just dedicated to that primarily, I think is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, let me do this wake up, shake up right now. Okay. Now, a while back, I got some years. I got exposed to some beats that were banging, and when I investigated that a little bit more closely, it turned out that those beats that were banging were coming out of Russia. Okay, and so then when I looked at that even more closely, all I saw was Jordan's jerseys, caps backwards or sideways, beat machines, and a whole lot of creativity going, and I never would have thought that it was coming out of Russia. Okay, so for the folks that are thinking that the only action out there is coming from their hood or New York or LA or whatever, Michigan or Dallas, you're wrong, because music is a universal language, and it's bumping from everywhere. So this move in Germany, take note. This move with the labels in Saudi Arabia, take note. And it's all for the goodness, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The more beats, the merrier. The more beats, the merrier.
Yes, 100%. All right, and so Warner made that move in Germany. They also made the move that's been buzzing. You've probably heard about it by now, but they acquired 300 Entertainment for an estimated $400 million. So, 300 was always about independent artists and, just kind of focusing on them. So now that they're being rolled up into a major label, they're still going to be able to kind of keep their independent identity. So the team's going to remain in its own separate headquarters in New York. So they're not relocating at this time or anything like that. And Kevin Liles is chairman and CEO across 300 and Elektra Music Group. So yeah, it'll be kind of interesting to see, what will happen from them being acquired. So if they're going to be able to maintain their independence while doing this should kind of open up a lot of doors for some of the artists, hopefully in a good way. So yeah, we'll see. But man, kudos to them for being able to score that. 400 million is not anything to snub or take lightly. So yeah, that's a big payday, and I'm curious to see what blossoms from that.
Well, you know what? I gotta jump in. Okay, for the listeners to this show, listeners of this show, this is not hype. This is world knowledge. This is business. This is opportunity. Okay, and so for you, the listener, if you're a music lover, that's great. For you, the listener, if you are an artist of some type, of some form, you can see each and every week by the news that's coming out that Achickwitbeatz is presenting, this thing wide open. Okay, there are companies and that are flourishing. Okay, but see, when that trickles down to the small person, to the small man, you can flourish too. Only if and when you get organized, you can grab a slice of that pie. Just think, if you could grab just 1/10 of 100th of the income and profit that's circulating around the globe in the music industry and in the entertainment industry, you'd be banked for life. But it won't happen unless you attack it and proceed in the proper way that will allow you to grab that 1/10 of whatever it was I just said.
Yeah.
Okay, so whether you're male, whether you're female, you know, whether you're young, whether you're not so young, you can do it because music is a universal language. So there you go. You know, so this platform right here, this ain't hype. This is realness.
Right.
So you can all do it. You know, you can do it. You can get it done. You can get yours. I had to say that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that definitely needed to be said. All right. Megan Thee Stallion has signed a first look deal with Netflix to create and executive produce a series. So, you know, this is pretty awesome. They don't really have a whole lot of details about what's going to come forth from it, although it does appear that it will probably be sitcom style. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But a quote from Megan is, I've always had a passion for telling creative and entertaining stories, so I'm thrilled about this partnership with Netflix. Venturing into production is the next step in my journey as an entrepreneur, and I can't wait to bring all of my ideas to life for my hotties to watch. So yeah, I'm excited for her and the moves that she's making, and I'm very excited to see what the series is going to look like.
Well, from my point of view, Megan is a great example of what can happen and what is happening.
Yeah.
Because see, she had her plan together. She was quiet about it. She was busting out doing her own thing back in the day. All right. But see, she kept that. She was able to generate and create some momentum, and it's been riding that momentum.
Yes.
And so now it's allowing her to go into other levels, other different doors. But see, that's a phenomenal example. That could be you over there, and you over on the other side as well. Right. Because the tip top was, you know, with the music, but then the music led to and I ain't giving no names, but the chicken company.
Yep. Uh-huh.
But see, that's big. Okay, the
is.
chicken company is now leading to Netflix, and that's big.
Yeah.
Okay, so what other industry allows you to come up from the ashes and achieve some success for you and your family,
right,
other than the entertainment business and music business? You got to grab it. This ain't no hype.
Right.
You got to grab it. You got to grab it. And see, we're coming to the end of a year. Don't let this new year start without you making some kind of plan, one way or the other, surrounding yourself with people who know what they're talking about. And if it's in you, you can grab it. If it's in you, you can get it.
Yeah, for sure. All right. And yeah, speaking of that and branching out into different things, The Film and TV Division of Quality Control has struck an unscripted TV deal to develop series for Lil Yachty, Migos, City Girls, Lil Baby, and athletes that the company represents in their sports arm. So, that's major moves. It's really cool to kind of see these things that are going on. And of course, I'm excited to see what comes from it. But for the company to be able to diversify the way that they have, and then still kind of bring it back around. So it's like, yeah, we're going to get into unscripted TV, but what else we're going to do? We're going to use this to be able to give our artists an even larger platform, another way to connect with people. And yeah, it's an awesome thing.
I'm going to sit back. I'm not going to say nothing. Because I hope the listeners can tell how excited I am about this whole realm. So I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah. So, for indie artists out there, indie label owners, to notice, these moves and stuff that are being made, you can always take a deeper dive into it, a deeper look, and see if there's a way for you to be able to tap into something like that. Or, it doesn't even have to be necessarily the entertainment realm, but there's so many different things that kind of work together. And so, yeah, to just kind of watch what some of the big ones that are having success are doing, it's always cool to kind of sit back and learn and make sure that you're paying attention and taking notes. So, yeah, kudos to them for what they're doing.
Okay, check this scenario. You're in high school, or the high schoolers that are out there right now. Okay, the ones that have a hankering, that have a real desire they got a little bit of music talent in whatever it is, whether it's production, whether it's performing, whatever. Okay, now you want to put your toe in there, but you let the crowd of people you're running with talk you out of it. Boom. You put running with them at a higher priority than zoning off by yourself, getting into this thing that you want to get into with your music talent, one way or the other. Mm-hmm. You see, how many dreams are blocked by what somebody else is telling you to do? The crowd. But how many dreams are blocked by the crowd you're running with telling you can't do it? Don't let that happen. Don't let that happen. Don't continue to let that happen.
Right. Yeah. All right. And, speaking of ideas and just kind of being able to let things blossom, Too Short has teamed up with the interactive live music app called Encore to release a series of augmented reality live performances. And so his series is going to be called Live from Too Short's Funhouse. So, he already had the first one, the premiere. And so the live augmented reality app that was co-founded by Kid Cudi, by the way. So, I believe we mentioned that at the time that things were kind of getting off the ground with that. But yeah, it's here, it's thriving, it's doing well. But yeah, they hosted the premiere of Too Short's new single, Nasty Dance, via a virtual strip club. So yeah, the series is going to highlight new music from his upcoming studio album. So yeah, there's more to come. I've got some friends, shout out to GK on Instagram, that let me know that they attended and they thought that it was a really, really cozy setting, and were able to kind of absorb the vibe and stuff that he was trying to bring. So, I my hat's off for the creativity to do something like this right now, to just kind of shake things up a little bit. So yeah, I think it's really, really awesome and incredible. And definitely something for independent artists to check out. Like I said, the app is called Encore. And, maybe you can host some stuff through there too for your fans to be able to check out. So cool things happening all around.
Well, look, wake up and shake it up. You can do this. So once this broadcast ends, don't let that desire vanish. If you know that if you know you want to put your toe into the industry with your talent, once this show goes off, don't let it slide. Okay. Now, the way that Achickwitbeatz has got this set up, you can listen to this show over and over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. These tips that she's giving out, that's not just spoken into the air and gone. So if you're really serious about your thoughts, your desires, and I gotta keep hammering. Because there's somebody right now that these words are exactly what they're looking to hear. And don't let that clique you're running with talk you out of something that you really want to get involved with, like the music industry. Because if you want it, look at some of the results of what some of the people are manifesting for themselves and their family.
Yep, for sure. And you know what? Speaking of that, that's the perfect segue. So there's been some deals going on. Bruce Springsteen sold his masters in music publishing to Sony in a $500 million deal, and ZZ Top sold their catalog and publishing to BMG and KKR for $50 million. So yeah, we keep seeing these. We keep bringing these headlines of these major artists, selling either their catalogs or portions of their catalogs. They're publishing or part of it and all this, and they're being able to capitalize on all their hard work throughout the years to be able to support their families like this now. So that was the perfect segue into that. Make sure that you pay attention to what's going on. And like I said, if you're looking at that, these are the people that are signing these deals have been around for a while. They've been making music. So even though maybe you're not quite at the point to where you'd be able to have a huge payout that way, if you're making music that's genuine music, you're not chasing trends or what might be hot for a moment. You need what they call that evergreen stuff. It's going to last. And so everybody that we've brought these stories to you from, like, they've all got that stuff that people still kind of want to go back to. So it's not like they were just worried about, what was popping in the moment, but just making genuine art and music that lasts. And now they're being able to get huge paydays from the hard work that they put in earlier.
That's right. You got to ride that bus. You got to ride that train. Okay.
Yeah.
See, those are the folks that have been on that bus. Those are the folks that have been on that train. Okay. So, and they've done their due diligence. They've done their hard work. All right. So they're moving onwards, but that's leaving no space. That's leaving a big space. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So as they move onwards down there, that could be you, the listener. That could be you, the hip hop artist. That could be you, the singer. That could be you, the recording engineer. That could be you, that is in A&R. That could be you. It just takes the desire. Okay, so as they move on forward on that train down the track, there's some wide open spaces remaining with the following train cars, and those spaces can be for you, the listener. So if music's in your blood, jump on in there.
Yes, absolutely.
Don't hesitate. Don't let that 2022 come in and you still procrastinating. No, sir, no, man.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, this has just been a blast. I mean, there's so many news stories that just come in that are just inspiring, and so much to be able to learn from. And I'm really glad that we get to do this. And look at how fast that time flew already. So
yeah,
yeah, it's already what?
I'm excited.
Yeah. So yeah, it's that time that we're bringing the episode to a close, and we thank you once again for tuning in and checking us out. Thank you for following us on your favorite platforms. Huge thank you to Sparks Radio and to Grander Radio, and to you, the listener. We really appreciate you guys, and I can't wait to do this again next week.
That's right. And as I said during the show 2, 3, 4, 5, 59 times, visit achickwitbeatz.com. Visit breezebenefits.now.site. And between the both of those sites, we are able to help you and should be able to help you in many different ways and facets. So, hey, that's my word for today.
Yes. All right. Till next time, you know where to find us. Tune in, tell a friend, and we'll see you then. Peace.
Peace.